Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. And today, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon. I'm continuing a video which I've done where I was discussing of having Elsa be this, like, feminist icon or whatever. But to be more specific, the type of feminist that seems to be really against trans women and men alike, which I have to disagree with because that doesn't make any sense. If Elsa was a real person, she just comes off like she'd be some type of individual who would does her best to be fair with everybody. Not to say she would know everything. I know not everybody, it's impossible for anybody to know everything. So, yes, even if she may come off ignorant in some matter, she's not going to come off like she's trying to use us as an excuse to be a bigot, because there is a difference between not knowing something and being a bigot. But so having her be labeled as a feminist, the specific type of feminist from nowadays, like the new wave of feminism that seems to be against trans women, just because they're trans, which of course is really transphobic. She doesn't seem the type of character who would be against men too, which is a form of sexism. Yes, I said that. I know sexism towards men is something that's rarely brought up. People are more key towards the fact that sexism towards women seems to be more of a common topic, whereas sexism towards men isn't something they talk about that often. And same thing with people. Same thing with people being transphobic. Being transphobic is also something that a lot of people don't speak about that often, really, like at all. People are more inclined to talk about, bigotry against lesbians or bigotry against gay men or bisexual people. But for some odd reason, I find it rather odd that when it comes to discussing transphobia towards trans people, that's not brought up as nowhere near as often, really. Which I find kind of odd, because you'd think that'd be more in the ballpark, kind of a thing. And just so you know, it doesn't make you gay if you date a trans woman. I mean, yes, trans women can be gay, but they also can be straight and bi. That does exist. Which is another thing hardly people ever speak about, really, like at all. When it comes to terms of being trans, there's also post-op trans and pre-op trans. Basically one finishes it and the other not quite. That's why it says pre-op trans and the other's post-op. That's another thing that hardly anyone would talk about, at least not as often as I think they would anyway. But like it matters anyway, because at the end of the day, everybody is a person, okay? Everybody, at the end of the day, we all bleed the same color of blood. So, yeah, there are people who would read way too much into this and whatnot. Come on, it's not that it's anybody's business anyway to begin with. If you're not sleeping with the individual, as in, having sex, or you're not close enough to that person to tell them that, what your, status when it comes to that sexual incitement surgery and whatnot, it's nobody's business. Although it's between you, yourself, and that's it. And whoever else you want to tell. When it comes to trans people, it has to be them that has to open up. They have to decide that. Whether it's female to male or male to female, they have to decide that. It's not anybody's concern what they have between their legs. Like I said, unless you're sleeping with them or they feel close enough to tell you. Other than that, it's nobody's business, like, at all. And also, when it comes to the status of the surgery, yeah, it varies, of course. Bottom surgery can be really risky. Yeah, this alone, it sounds like an entire subject I would speak about on a separate video, because this video is going on long enough already as it is. So I just want to bring that up as well for a moment here, folks. Yes, it varies when it comes to the status of the surgery, because it can be really, really expensive. So, yeah. And some people may not go all the way with the surgery for a number of reasons. It can be for a personal reason, even if they have the money, and if they don't, it could also be their own personal choice in that matter because lack of money. But anyway, Yeah, like I said, the whole thing with the topic of trans people, that seems like a whole subject matter I could use it as a separate video if I want to, but that aside, I want to bring up something super incredibly fast, is that also in the previous video I mentioned that people may want to have a third installment of this series of films. To some extent, I want to say no, because like I was saying in the previous part, when it comes to the third part, they usually ruin it when it comes to a franchise because of the whole third part curse. So when it comes to making part 3s, I'm like, no, 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 no. But anyway, on with that. I mean, that's not to say that I wouldn't want to see a third Frozen film, but I'm just really being really, really cautious about it because there's a bad rep when it comes to this kind of a thing. I mean, okay, that's kind of besides the point, I guess, of this video, but having Elsa be supposedly being confirmed being a lesbian and a certain type of feminist, so making her this kind of way of a feminist. Like I said, there's been multiple waves of feminism throughout the years. The original wave of feminism was intended to help men and women as if they can unite together. But over the years, a lot of it has changed because a lot of them seem to hate men. And Elsa really does not seem like the hateful type like at all, as the film would portray her as well. And that specific type of feminist that apparently she's being confirmed as, those group of feminists actually are against trans people. Yeah, believe it or not, they actually are against trans people. So again, she doesn't seem the type of person to be hateful. And oh yeah, speaking of which, unfortunately, even in the LGBT community, there are some of the members, usually gay men, not all, but usually, are also against trans women. So, yeah, you think this would have been an issue that could have been a part of the story because you'd be fighting against your own side. You should all be equal and whatnot. Wasn't that the whole point anyway for feminism and fighting for the rights for the LGBT and whatnot? And yes, trans women have been attacked by feminists before, and this seems to be on the rise as well over the years. Yeah, there was even news articles about this kind of a thing. More and more feminists seem to be going against trans people because they view them as just as men. Yes, that seems really transphobic. They believe that these individuals just want to go to female spaces only just to attack them in one form or another. Because apparently men are the only group of people in the entire world that's capable of doing something bad. As of, being abusive, sexual assaults and whatnot. So yeah, of course, that could be like an entire topic on its own, but just to explain as to why that doesn't make any sense to make Elsa that way. And there's a well-known feminist who actually dislikes trans people, and it would be the author of Harry Potter. I mean, yeah, really, which is really stupid. Don't you think that just contradicts the whole idea of, equal rights and whatnot? But then, as if it wasn't already bad enough, we already got people like this, Kevin Swatchin, talking down towards the LGBT community and the feminists as well. Because he claims that they're all crazy as this bitch right here. I don't like her. I mean, it has nothing to do with the LGBT, but just whole mindset that's crazy, if anything. Look her up, you too. And just look her up, folks. Look her up as well. Just, on your own, just look her up, because she's crazy. But, again, nothing to do with the LGBT, but still. But even this guy, yeah, whom I've already discussed quite a few times on my main channel, but he claims that if you help the LGBT community, you're just as bad as the Ku Klux Klan members. Yes, he's claiming that you are racist towards African Americans if you help them out. Yeah, sounds as absurd as that. Which also I did discuss before. And yes, even the Trump himself had talked a lot of trash about the LGBT community as well. So, and yeah, he's also stated that he doesn't like women as well.